turned down a dream job overseas to build a future with her here. She betrayed me for a broke man and accidentally told the entire world about it. Before watching the video, please tell us in the comments, which country are you watching from? My name is Ethan Brooks, and I'm 31 years old. I believed I was building a real partnership, love, loyalty, and shared dreams. But one careless mistake on her phone would expose everything she tried so hard to hide. From the outside, our life looked perfect. We lived in a bright apartment downtown, always smiling for photos and pretending we had it all together. Megan was the kind of woman who could light up a room. Everyone adored her, and honestly, I did too. She was my peace, or at least that's what I thought. I worked long hours as a construction manager, while she freelanced from home as a marketing consultant. It wasn't easy, but we made it work. I took extra shifts so we could afford her dream vacations and the little luxuries she loved. She always said I was her anchor, the steady man she could rely on. I wore that title with pride. We'd been together for 3 years. I was planning to propose soon. I'd even picked out a ring. Simple, elegant, just like her. I wanted to make it special. I wanted our story to mean something. But love has a funny way of blinding you. I didn't notice the late replies, the sudden distance, the way she laughed at messages that weren't mine. I thought it was work stress, or maybe she was just tired. The truth was, she wasn't tired. She was bored. She started posting fewer pictures of us and more selfies, captions like, "Finding myself again," and "New beginnings." I didn't question it. I just kept supporting her, believing every word she said. I thought people drift sometimes, but always find their way back. One Friday evening, she came home late, saying she was meeting her marketing team. She smelled like a different cologne, something that wasn't mine. When I asked, she smiled and said, "You're being paranoid." I apologized, blaming my own insecurities. I didn't know she'd already traded my trust for someone else's attention. Still, I tried to hold things together. I cooked her favorite meals, left notes on her desk, and planned small surprises. But her smile felt rehearsed now, her eyes elsewhere. Love had become performance, and I was the only one who didn't know the script had changed. That night, as she fell asleep beside me, I looked at her and wondered why my heart still believed in her. I didn't realize the truth was about to come crashing down, not in whispers, but in front of everyone we knew. Because soon, her secret wouldn't stay hidden behind locked messages. It would be broadcast to the world by her own mistake. At first, the distance between us was quiet, barely noticeable. Megan still smiled, still said she loved me, but something had changed. Her laughter felt hollow, her touch colder. Every time I tried to talk, she'd blame work stress or exhaustion. I believed her because I wanted to. Love makes you ignore the truth when it's staring right at you. She started staying late at her office, saying she was working on a big campaign. When I'd ask what it was, she'd wave it off, saying, "You wouldn't understand marketing stuff." That sentence stuck in my head. I used to know everything about her work. Now, I wasn't even part of the conversation. I tried to be supportive. I'd pack her lunch, leave notes in her bag, and send her texts just to remind her I was thinking of her. But the replies came slower. Sometimes she'd read them and never respond. When I'd ask about it, she'd smile and say, "You worry too much, Ethan." Nights felt longer. She'd fall asleep facing away from me, her phone glowing long after she said goodnight. I'd roll over, pretending to sleep. But inside I was falling apart. There's nothing worse than lying next to someone who's already left you emotionally. One Saturday morning, we went out for coffee. She was glued to her phone again, giggling softly at something she wouldn't show me. When I asked what was funny, she snapped, "It's work, Ethan. Why do you have to question everything I do?" Her voice was sharp, defensive. I just nodded, staring at my untouched cup. That was the first time I realized love doesn't disappear with shouting. It disappears in silence. Over the next few weeks, the gap between us widened. She started dressing differently, wearing perfume I didn't recognize. Her friends acted strange around me too, avoiding eye contact, like they knew something I didn't. But I refused to believe it. I kept holding on to the version of her I fell in love with, even if she no longer existed. Then one night, she told me she'd be going out for team drinks. I kissed her forehead and said, "Have fun." She smiled, almost relieved that I didn't question it. When she left, I stood by the window watching her walk away, laughing into her phone. Something in my gut twisted, whispering that the truth was closer than I thought. Still, I waited, foolishly, patiently, hoping that whatever was pulling her away would fade. But sometimes, distance isn't an accident. It's a choice. And soon, I'd find out that choice had already been made. Not in whispers, but in the most public, humiliating way possible. It was a Friday night, one of those calm evenings where the city lights shimmered against the windows. Megan told me she was going out for after-work drinks again. I smiled and said, "Have fun," pretending I didn't feel that growing knot in my chest. I didn't want another argument. I just wanted peace, even if it meant lying to myself. I stayed home, watching a movie and waiting for her text. But hours passed, and my phone stayed silent. Around midnight, I finally drifted off to sleep, not realizing my entire world was about to explode online. The next morning, my phone buzzed nonstop. Missed calls, messages, and screenshots filled my notifications. My best friend Lucas had texted me, "Bro, check Instagram right now." My heart started pounding as I opened the app. At the top of my feed was a story from Megan's account, but it wasn't what I expected. It was a short video, her laughter echoing over rooftop music. She was holding hands with another man. Their glasses clinked together, their fingers intertwined. The caption said, "Finally free." I froze. My stomach turned cold. The world around me blurred as I stared at that glowing screen. The video lasted only a few seconds, but it felt endless. My girlfriend, the woman I gave up everything for, had just announced her affair to hundreds of people. I refreshed the app. The story was gone, deleted, but it was too late. Screenshots were everywhere. Friends, co-workers, even her family had seen it. People were messaging me with pity, with disbelief. The image of her hand in his wouldn't leave my mind. It burned behind my eyelids every time I blinked. I sat there for hours, phone still in my hand, unable to move. Anger, heartbreak, humiliation. It all collided into one deep ache. How could she post that? How could she mock me so openly? When she finally came home that evening, she was pale, eyes wide, shaking. "Ethan," she whispered, "it was a mistake. I didn't mean to post it. I thought it was a close friend story." Her voice cracked, but her excuses only made it worse. "A mistake?" I asked quietly. "That's what you call it?" Tears rolled down her face, but I felt nothing. My heart wasn't broken anymore. It was numb. That night, as she sobbed on the couch, I sat at the table scrolling through her social media. The damage was done. The internet never forgets, and neither would I. She thought deleting a story could erase her betrayal. She was wrong, because this wasn't the end of her mistake. It was the beginning of my revenge. What would you do if someone you loved betrayed you like this? Comment below. By the next morning, everyone knew. Megan's mistake had already spread through every corner of our world. Friends, co-workers, even her cousins, everyone had seen the story before she deleted it. People were talking, whispering, sharing screenshots like wildfire. Her name was suddenly trending in our small circle for all the wrong reasons. I woke up to a flood of messages. Some were from friends offering sympathy, others from people who just wanted the gossip. Lucas called me first. "Man, I'm sorry," he said quietly. "It's everywhere. I don't even know what to say." I thanked him, but I didn't need comfort. I needed silence to think. When I went online again, I saw comments under her latest post. "Is this the guy from your story?" Wow, that was fast. The picture-perfect world she'd built online was falling apart, and for once, I didn't stop it. That afternoon, she came home, looking like she hadn't slept. Her eyes were red, her hair a mess. "Ethan, please," she started, voice trembling. "I didn't mean for this to happen. It was supposed to be private." I laughed softly, a sound even I didn't recognize. "Private? You told the whole world, Megan. You didn't just betray me, you embarrassed me publicly." She tried to explain, stumbling over excuses. "It just happened, Ethan. I was drunk. He doesn't mean anything." I cut her off. "He meant enough for you to write, 'finally free.'" Her silence said everything. In the following days, she lost friends. The people who once adored her began distancing themselves. Her co-workers avoided her, and her clients canceled meetings. Every time she looked at her phone, there was another reminder of what she'd done. I didn't post anything. I didn't defend her. I didn't even correct the rumors. I just watched her world unravel, the same way she'd unraveled mine. Still, part of me hurt. No matter how strong I acted, I couldn't erase the image of her laughing in that video. I'd been planning to propose, to start a family. Now, I couldn't even stand to hear her name. But I didn't shout. I didn't fight. I wanted her to live in the silence she created. The silence that comes when truth drowns out every excuse. By the end of the week, she tried once more. "Can we talk?" she whispered. I looked at her and said, "You've said enough online." Then I walked away. That moment, I realized something powerful. Her downfall didn't need my anger. It just needed exposure. And soon, I would take that lesson one step further. Because when the world turns its back on someone who mocked loyalty, revenge doesn't have to be loud. It just has to be planned. After the storm came silence. And in that silence, I found focus. Megan spent her days locked in the bedroom, crying, calling her friends, trying to fix her shattered image. I went to work every morning, pretending nothing had changed. But inside, I was building something, not to destroy her, but to expose her completely. I started collecting proof, screenshots, messages, timestamps, everything that tied her to that man. His name was Jordan Miller, a failed musician who lived off charm and borrowed money. I found their photos hidden in her cloud storage, the same folder where our anniversary pictures used to be. Seeing her wrapped in his arms made my blood turn cold, but I didn't lose control. Revenge doesn't come from rage. It comes from patience. At night, she tried to talk to me. "Ethan," she whispered, "can we please start over?" I didn't answer. I just stared out the window. She had destroyed something that could never be rebuilt, and now I would make her understand what that felt like. A week later, she mentioned that her company was hosting a charity event. "I was thinking of going," she said quietly, trying to sound normal. "Maybe I can prove I'm still professional." I smiled faintly. "You should," I replied. "You deserve to tell your story." She didn't realize I meant that literally. Over the next few days, I set everything in motion. I sent a few anonymous tips to her company's PR email, including the screenshots of her private story. I made sure Jordan's name was included, along with the date and time. I didn't exaggerate. I didn't need to. The truth was powerful enough on its own. On the day of the event, she dressed carefully, fixing her hair in the mirror. I watched her from the doorway, silent. "You'll be okay," I said softly. "You've always loved the spotlight." She smiled weakly, thinking I was finally forgiving her. But forgiveness wasn't on my agenda. That evening, as she stepped onto the stage to speak about integrity in marketing, her phone started buzzing. Then, whispers spread across the room. Her photos, the ones she'd deleted, were being projected onto the event's live feed. Her story, her hand in his. The caption, "Finally free." She froze, her face draining of color. The audience gasped, phones flashing, people recording. Her reputation collapsed in front of her eyes, again, but this time, intentionally. I wasn't even there to see it. I didn't need to be. I was home, sitting in silence, sipping coffee. For once, I felt calm. I hadn't shouted. I hadn't hit back. I'd simply let her taste the same humiliation she served me, only colder. And that was just the beginning. After the charity disaster, Megan's life unraveled faster than even I expected. Her company suspended her, clients vanished overnight, and friends stopped answering her calls. Every bridge she'd built for her perfect life had burned down. She tried to act strong, posting a few quotes about resilience, but the world wasn't listening anymore. Her mistake had gone viral, and I had made sure it stayed that way. Days later, she came to me, trembling. "Ethan," she said softly, "I know I've hurt you, but can we talk, please? Just one dinner to clear the air?" Her voice cracked halfway through. For a moment, I saw the woman I used to love, scared, broken, desperate for forgiveness. I nodded slowly. "All right," I said. "One dinner. Let's talk." She smiled weakly, relief flooding her face. She didn't know that this dinner wasn't about closure. It was her final performance. I booked a quiet restaurant downtown, the same one where we'd celebrated our first anniversary. I told her to dress nice, told her it was time to start over. She believed me. That night, she looked beautiful, elegant, nervous. Her eyes searched mine across the candlelight, hoping for a warmth that wasn't there anymore. "I can't stop thinking about what I did," she whispered. "I lost you, Ethan. I lost everything." I nodded, silent, letting her speak. "I've cut him off. I blocked Jordan. I'm trying to rebuild." "Rebuild?" I said softly. "You mean your image, right?" Her face fell. "No, I mean..." Before she could finish, I placed my phone on the table and pressed play. The restaurant filled with her own voice, giggling, whispering, saying Jordan's name over and over. It was one of her deleted voice notes from months ago. She went pale, her lips trembling. The diners nearby turned their heads slightly, sensing the tension. "Megan," I said quietly, "you didn't just betray me. You mocked me. You laughed about me with him. And now you want dinner?" Tears streamed down her cheeks. "Please stop, Ethan. Not here." But I didn't stop. I wasn't shouting. I didn't need to. "You took my love, my loyalty, and you turned it into entertainment. Do you remember what you said?" "He'll never find out. He's too naive." She buried her face in her hands, sobbing quietly. The waiter stood frozen nearby, unsure what to do. I stood up, placed a few bills on the table, and said calmly, "You once posted your truth online by accident. Tonight you heard it out loud, on purpose." She looked up, broken, whispering my name as I walked away. But I didn't turn back. The sound of her crying faded behind me like the ending of a bad song. Outside, the air was cold and clear. For the first time in months, I felt light. Revenge didn't need rage. It just needed timing, and mine had been perfect. If you were in my place, would you forgive or walk away? Tell me in comments. After that dinner, Megan disappeared from my life completely. She packed her things within a week and moved out without a word. I didn't stop her. I didn't even ask where she went. For the first time, silence didn't hurt. It healed. The storm she brought into my life had finally passed, and I could breathe again. The apartment felt strange at first. Empty, quiet, too peaceful. Her laughter, once constant, was gone. But over time, that quiet started to feel like freedom. I began to fill the silence with purpose. Early runs, new projects, late nights working on myself instead of trying to fix someone else. People started treating me differently too. Friends who once pitied me now respected. They saw how I handled everything, not with rage, not with pity, but with calm precision. I hadn't destroyed her reputation. I'd simply revealed the truth. The world had done the rest. Work became my therapy. I took extra hours, saved money, and poured my energy into progress. I joined a gym, started boxing again, and focused on rebuilding my confidence. Every drop of sweat felt like washing away her betrayal. Slowly, I began to recognize myself in the mirror again. Stronger, clearer, unbreakable. Meanwhile, rumors about Megan continued to spread. Her affair partner, Jordan, had vanished too. Apparently, once the attention turned negative, he left. Her to deal with the wreckage alone. The same man she thought was her freedom had disappeared when things got hard. I heard through a mutual friend that she was living with her sister, looking for new work. I didn't smile at her pain. I simply accepted it as balance. Sometimes karma doesn't shout, it whispers. One evening, I walked by the same rooftop bar where she'd filmed that infamous story. The same city lights, the same music. But this time, I didn't feel anger. I felt nothing, and that nothing was peace. I realized that forgiveness doesn't mean letting someone back into your life. It means you've stopped letting them control it. I posted one final photo that night. Me, standing on that rooftop smiling. The caption was simple, finally free. No names, no stories, no bitterness, just closure. The likes rolled in, and so did the quiet support. People saw strength, not spite. I hadn't just moved on, I'd evolved. Because real revenge isn't making them suffer. It's proving they never had the power to break you. And though the scars still lingered somewhere deep, I wore them proudly. They reminded me of everything I survived, and everything I'd become. Months passed. My life finally felt new again. The weight of betrayal had faded, replaced by peace. I had built a steady routine, work, gym, quiet evenings with music, and no memories I needed to erase. Megan had become a name from another lifetime, a ghost that no longer haunted me. One afternoon, while I was grabbing coffee downtown, I saw her again. She was sitting alone by the window of a cafe, her hair pulled back, no makeup, staring at her phone like it held pieces of her past. For a second, our eyes met. She looked up, startled, and her lips parted as if to speak. I didn't stop. I just nodded politely and walked past. Some goodbyes don't need words. Later that evening, I thought about how far I'd come since the day her betrayal went public. I had lost everything. Trust, pride, even sleep. But I'd gained something much greater. Self-respect. I realized revenge wasn't just about making someone pay. It was about showing yourself that you never needed them to survive. She had mocked me, humiliated me in front of the world, and thought I'd crumble. Instead, I'd risen, quietly, steadily, stronger than she'd ever imagined. And that was the sweetest kind of justice. A few days later, I received a message request on social media. It was from her. "I'm sorry," she wrote. I didn't know what I had until I lost it. I stared at the message for a long time, then closed it without replying. Some stories don't deserve sequel. Instead, I posted a photo, standing at the same beach where we once spent our first vacation. The caption was short and simple. Some endings are blessings in disguise. I didn't need to name her. Everyone who mattered already knew the story. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I realized something important. Betrayal doesn't define you. Your reaction does. I had every reason to hate her, to destroy her life further, but I didn't. I chose silence, progress, and peace, and that was my true revenge. Sometimes, walking away without bitterness is the loudest victory of all. Now, when people ask about her, I just smile and say, she taught me exactly what I needed to learn. Because the truth is, I didn't lose her. I lost the version of myself that tolerated less than I deserved. And for that, I'll always be thankful. This is how my girlfriend betrayed me. Should I forgive or move on? Tell me in comments. If this story made you feel something, hit like, share it with a friend, and subscribe. Because real pain makes real strength.